Okay, we're now going to look at the tactic that's called a fork. Now, in real life, you would use a fork to pick up multiple pieces of food. And in the chess game, you would just use a fork to pick up, or to at least attack, multiple pieces of chess. So multiple chess pieces on the board. So a fork is when you attack more than one piece with your move, and when they move one of the pieces away, then you can take the other. So without too much talking, let's get to the first example that we have here on the board. Clearly here black is up material, black has a queen, and white has a knight. So black is doing quite well here, and in normal circumstances then this would be a completely winning position for black. However here, white has the good move of knight to g7, check. Here we're using the knight to attack both the king and the queen. Since the king is worth more, the king will have to move, and so let's say the king moves to f7. After the king moves, the knight is free to take the queen, and after the king takes the knight, the position is drawn, and white has one material. White won a queen for a knight. A queen's worth 10 points, a knight's worth 3 points, so white wins a total of 7 points here. Let's move on to the next example. Okay, so in this position, black is also up material, black has a rook, and white only has a bishop. Now, it's your turn. Can you find the right move for white to win the rook? You guys can pause the video if you like, and figure it out for yourself. Okay, so I hope you have enough time to figure the position out. The correct move here is to move the bishop to c4. We attack the king, and we attack the rook. The king is a more valuable piece, so black will have to move the king. And after black moves the king, white will be able to take the rook, winning a rook with the fork. Okay, let's go to the next position. This position here is the first one on your worksheet. Now, white here is down in exchange, and if he plays normally, then perhaps black will have a good chance of winning this position. But if white plays the correct move here, white will be able to win this position instead. Now, you can once again have a little bit of time to figure out the position if you like. Okay, if you still want more time, you should pause your video. But the correct move for white to play right now is to notice that the knight can go to e5, forking the king and the rook. The knight on e5 attacks both the king and the rook, and black can only move one of them in his move. If black needs to move the king because the king is the more valuable piece. So, for example, after king to e7, then we can take the rook. The resulting endgame here should be 1 for white. Alright, we'll go to the number 6 on this worksheet next. I'm sorry, I misspoke. We're going to number 5. This is number 5 on the worksheet. Okay, so if we take a look at this position here, it seems like material is pretty equal. White is up 1 pawn, but the bishops are on opposite colors, so if there's normal play, then this is probably going to be a drawn game. And if we take a look at this position right now, then we still don't see a fork. I mean, I don't really see a fork in this position. It looks like most pieces are pretty defended. So what do you think we should do here? Can we create a fork? If you would like more time, you should pause your video. White's best move here is to play the move rook to c8, check. After the check, black has two legal moves. He can either give away the rook, of course, which would lose the game, or he can play king to g7. And after king to g7, I think the fork should be apparent. We can play bishop to e5 check, and we will win the rook on d4. The other solution that many people might have found is bishop to e5 first, saying that if the rook goes somewhere, let's say rook to d2, then we have rook to c8 followed by checkmate. The problem is, if white plays bishop to e5 first, then black can play rook to d8, and now suddenly white finds out that he does not have rook c8 as an option. Okay, this is it for the fork video. Remember that a fork is when you attack two pieces with one move.